Mic check, mic check. Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Right, hopefully. Oh, what's happened there? Hopefully people can actually hear me. Greetings, greetings. Sorry if I just blew your ears off with some feedback, but it is what it is. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another release day for Horizen expansions. So we're quite excited by this. And our new expansion Underground is now hit the shelves. So everything is good. So what's happening today? Well, we're going to go through, say, a few things. We're going to talk about the upcoming stuff on Horizen and what's coming out, all the new expansions, and have a giveaway. Although there is one disclaimer today, and that is that we were quite late to market with the expansion, and so the email is getting sent out as we speak. So not sure how many people are going to join us today, so we'll see what happens. If lots of people join, then we'll still do the giveaway. If not, we might stream tomorrow night as well and give everyone a chance to kind of join so it's fair, because otherwise we'll only have a few people to kind of do the giveaway too. So, you know, as you know, we're not a huge channel, and we don't do this that often, although I'd love to do more live streaming, but it just takes a lot of our time. And, you know, because we're only a small team, and we've got obviously lots of Horizon-y things that we've got to deal with, so it's not always appropriate, but we try and do what we can, how we can, and we're always there for our customers at the end, so it's always good. So I just want to ask, have you all checked out the new Horizen trailer yet for Underground? Question mark, question mark. Enjoying a coffee while I can. Let me make sure we've got audio here as well. Okay. We've got audio. All right, well, Underground. So our latest Underground, and this is the last in our series for a while for movie stuff, because we're moving on to a different genre of music on the next expansions. So, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So this one is the dark and twisted side of cinematic textures and drones. It's probably one of my best work yet in terms of sound design, because it's all self-modulating. Everything is just going crazy, and it's extremely atmospheric, and it utilizes the Horizen engine just so well. So we're really happy and thrilled for that. So do check it out if you can. It is up on Traction's YouTube channel right now. In fact, I'm going to be going through some of the some of the presets anyway, and showing you what it's all about and things, but I do advise you to go and have a look at that, just because it's kind of cool and it sounds nice. So if it fits in with your style of music, I mean, the whole point of us doing expansions is so that you can choose what you would like and what you don't like. So, Underground then, it's all about the twisted, dark, unearthed kind of textures and drones. So it's not really a melodic expansion pack, which means that it's not big pads and things like that. It's more drones and sounds that fit into something else, you know. So it's the whole reason why we didn't do a music demo track for it, because it's a very difficult one to do. Because it's all context based. So, for example, it can fit into any genre as well. So, if you're doing an EDM track or a hip hop track, just honestly, just use it, and it fills up so much frequencies and gives you a kind of vibe, you know. So, it's really kind of nice. So, it is down here in the Underground section. It's already installed on mine. So, just quickly, before I begin playing some noises, is that for those that are watching on replay or haven't made it to the stream, who has purchased it and are a little bit stuck in terms of how to install expansions, most people know by now because of my previous videos, but this is just a quick reminder. If you click on the expansion button right here, then you can then click on install an expansion right here, and then browse for your download manager's download folder, which is now in this description right here. So you can pick up the Zen XP file and it will self-install for you, and that's all you got to do. It's super easy, and everything is inside Horizen, and off you go. So in here we've got load of presets with the suffix of UG. So, and as I say, these are all great for cinematic textures or just textures overall. Just see them as that, right? So it's not just a static noise, it's a noise that's evolving, you know what I mean? It's hard to explain, so let me just play some examples and you'll understand. So I'll go through a few, but do watch the video because that's important, right? Okay. So, as I said, a lot of these you can't play pads with, so if you do try it will sound bizarre. It's all about, today I'll show you how and why you should use them and where they're useful and how to kind of play them and perform them in your own studio, you know, using your own setup. So, look, some of them are a bit more tuneful than others. So this one is, well, Act 5. So if you play low notes, that's where you always want to start because that's the body of them. So So, you know, this is one example, but that was quite a melodic kind of pad sound, but it's not quite a pad either. So, you know, let's just scroll through a few more and just to give you a better example of what they do. So, see, this is a good example. It's not a pad. You can play it like a pad. Because if you tried, it will be weird and it'll sound like this, you know, which doesn't kind of make any sense. So, you got to kind of understand that if you kind of hold this note down and you're performing a piece of music, you've got something going on, and then you can put a load of high stuff over the top, but you've got this constant drone that's filling out the frequencies, making your track, you know, just bigger sounding because you're frequency filling. So, and it's great for kind of breaks and drops and intros and whatever, you know, all of these sounds are just good for anything, you know, realistically. Some of them get really wild and bizarre, I'm telling you. But you got to listen for the self-modulating thing that's going on. Not one of them are just a standard pad static kind of sound. It's like there's so much journey going on, and depending on where you play on the keyboard, you get a different thing happening all the time. It's really interesting, you know, so. How's that for a horror film, right? Start putting some chains in the background, right? You kind of get the idea. Everything is contextual with this expansion. Yeah, it just oozes atmosphere, you know, I just love it so much. You know, we'll play some more. This is just pure sound effects. I will certainly do in a second. I'll go through some of these and I'll create a sound from scratch. It's no problem. I'll show you how to do that. I'm just showing you the gist of what we're doing here today. I understand you can hear my keys as well coming through on the mic, which doesn't really help. Obviously you won't have that problem at home, but yeah, it is what it is. I'll drink my coffee at the same time. Cheers, everyone. So with these, we use a lot of kind of Foley sounds that I kind of run around recording and then just blended them in to all these sounds. So it's like a lot of natural sounds meet the unnatural. So that's really interesting. That one's kind of hella freaky. Love that one. Okay, this one's a little bit more melodic. Hear that in the background. All those whispers. You gotta love it. So yeah, moving on. one's got a mind of its own, that one. But you see, you got to understand that all of these can be usable in one way or another, you know, in any format. It doesn't matter the genre, you know, so it doesn't, because something sounds, you know, cinematic, it doesn't necessarily mean it belongs in that category. You know, I mean, I've used these in rock songs and all sorts of nonsense like that. You know, you can just fill out anything you want. It's fun doing it as well. Just go through a few more, and then I'll make one from scratch so you can see what's happening. So. So much going on everywhere, you know, it really is. I'm getting tangled up in my own mic cable here. Try a few more and I'll show you some other stuff. Oh, that's eerie, you know. I mean, if you just close your eyes, right? Right, we'll do one more. I don't know. Grandfather, that would do. Tick, tick. So much going on. Oh, that's really nice. Okay, look. So, let's say this is, yeah, you've really got to get up and close and personal with it, you know, and just put your headphones on, just crank it up and just enjoy the ambience, you know, that's in your head. It's just so good. And then just try it in any track and it will just work. As long as you play it in the key of the song, obviously. So. Okay. Now, because today we won't do the giveaway because obviously the email shot didn't get sent out. So we'll reschedule that for tomorrow, most likely. So if you are watching back after you get the email, because I know that the email goes back and it will have a link to the stream. So hello, and don't worry, you're not forgotten. I think it's only fair that we do that. So Otherwise, it's, you know, it's just not fair otherwise. So, right, I'm assuming that the people that are with us today, we can just have an up close and personal one, can't we? So, you know, let me help you with anything that you need. So I know I've already got requests to show you how to create a sound, which we can do. It's not a problem. So, so we'll do that first. And I'll show you how simple it really is in Horizen to create something from scratch. Legit. And it's all about what you can invent realistically, because the synth can kind of do most things you want, but it's a lot of people, I can understand, they look at this synth and they kind of think, oh look, there's so many knobs and switches and everything like that, where do I start? And so I get that with any synth. You know, we've all been there and we've all done it, and obviously it's so easy for me to say, oh, it's simple, because, you know, it's our product. So looking at it from the other side, I get that same feeling if I load up someone else's sounds, or someone else's synth, you know, that I enjoy, and I'm just stuck, and I'm like, well, what do I do? You know, and it takes you a little bit of time to kind of get used to it. So these little videos are really great to kind of help you and push you in the right direction. Even if you kind of know, it's always good to be, you know, reinforced with what you kind of already know. So let's just do it. So let's go for an init setting, and we'll just be creative. And so obviously the init is just the amazing mighty saw. So let's mute this for now, because let's work on samples. I am going to only work on underground samples because that's what we're promoting today. So if you buy the pack, then obviously you will get access to all of the underground samples and loops and noises and whatever. So there is a whole load in here that you can kind of start with. So I don't know, I'm just going to pick one and just preview it. So, right. Okay, let's try a different one. Okay, that's nice. Okay, let's work with this. So first thing I want to do is, on any sound, especially for an ambient sound or something like that, you always want a long release, because nobody wants a short sound, right? And if you don't know what these are here, the AHDSR, well, let me just tell you real quick. A is for attack, so how fast or slow the sound starts. And then you got H, which is, you know, it holds the sound after a certain point. Then D, which is decay, how fast the sound will decay, set by that of the sustain, which is what the S is. And then finally you got R, which is release. So how fast it stops after you've, you know, taken your finger off the keyboard, essentially. So this right here, the A and the R, are the two kind of most important ones for any ambient kind of sound design. So, for example, there's a big difference between being immersed in a sound, if you do that, which is just horrible, obviously, versus that, and straight away you kind of get that release that you kind of want, so it blends itself in between other sounds. So it's just much nicer. Obviously it's a dry sound right now, so we will put effects on it. So let's start that process. So I always choose my trusty Zenverb. Always go to 100% early diffusion rate, otherwise you'll get almost like an echo. Put up the width a little bit. Let's not have any modulation just now, and we'll leave everything as it is for a second. We'll turn up the send. Don't forget, we're only working on sampler 1, so make sure that this is set. And you know, we'll put that to an appropriate level. Yeah, that's good. Right, we'll name this as these are kind of like the sonics, right? So if I label that sonics, then I know what it is. So that's that. Right. And we'll first, the way I look at sound design in general, I mean, you may differ, of course, but when you build a sound, you always want like a primitive sound, and then a top layer, a mid layer, and then an interesting sound, right? So not always the case, depending on what you're going for, but so you always want to find that happy ground to start with and find other things that will work around it. Most of the time when I do the original sound design, I have that in my mind when I'm creating the sounds, so I know what kind of works with one another in terms of frequency and you know, sound type sort of thing. So we've got our basic sound just on one voice of the sampler engine. We haven't done anything else to it apart from add a little bit of reverb and just put the release up a little bit. So you got to then say to yourself, okay, what do I want this sound to do? What's it already doing that I don't want it to do? Or what is the sound not doing that I want it to do? You follow me? So, for example, if you want, you know, the filter to be engaged, if you want more of a darker or doomier sound, then we play with that. And then we can have a real low sound, but obviously you're going to then take away some of the interesting factors. But maybe that's what you're going for. There is no rules, right? So absolutely none at all. So, you know, you can play with this, you can do whatever you want realistically. You know, do you want it to modulate, or do you want it to, you know, come in much later and become a little bit more of a, like a pad-like sound? You know, when it rolls up on the volume. We can do that, of course. It's not a problem. You know, but let's work with this for now, and then we'll look at another sound that we can overlay and then see how we can kind of modulate the two together. So, and then we'll get into the loop parts in a little while, because that's where I kind of, the way I always see things in Horizen is that my samplers are my sonics. So they're my main bulk of the sound. Then if I want something that is my top layer or extreme bottom layer, then I use the synths for that. And then my interesting sounds are my loop players. So, you know, samplers 1 through to 4, as I say, just use those as interesting sounds that you can blend together and do whatever you want. Yeah, I mean, you can do, look, honestly, there's no rules, and I'm never going to sit here and tell someone how to do sound design, because it's all what's up in your head rather than what's in the tool set available, you know, so it is what it is. So take that with a pinch of salt. So anyway, let's preview another sound. We'll solo this so we've got transparency and we know what we're working with. So see, this one's more like a pad sound, which is fine, but it's similar to the other one. Oh, that's nice. Okay, let's go with this for now. You know, and then again, we're going to do the same thing, just super basic, add some reverb to it. We'll put a bit of a tack on it. And that's it. And then we'll obviously bring the other one back in, make sure it kind of works with it. So now we've got both running together. Which is good. But the thing is, with general sounds, as soon as you start layering things, what happens is that, you know, if you look at an equalizer, everything has a low, mid, high, right? So there's going to be some fighting, clashing frequencies the more you add. So there are ways we can go around that in sound design to kind of help make everything have its own space. So one of those is an EQ in our synth. So you could, let me solo this one, the second sound. Like if we like the mid-range in the first sound, then we don't need it in this one because it would just fight itself and make the other one least interesting. So what you can do here is simply find the frequency that's bothering you and then just simply just take it out, right? Or there's a different way, which I kind of prefer. And let me show you that alternative way. And also it's good for sound design. So we go into the effects here and we add a auto panner. So because we're in sampler number 2, let's call this pan sound so we don't get ourselves confused, right? And instead of taking away the frequencies, we're just going to make it shift the stereo field. So that way we can keep the mid-range intact and have a fuller sound, but it will still get out the way. It will only ever clash when it reaches the zero crossing point in the middle. But that's only going to be briefly as it rotates, right? So we'll bring up the send on that for this guy here, the auto panner. Let's first test how fast it is. Okay, it's a bit too fast. So we really want it really slow, you know? Yeah, that's more like it. Let's make it a little bit smooth by putting it to a sine wave, which is all the way to the right. So, or is it to the left? I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry, it's to the left, not to the right. To the right is square wave, I do believe, and to the left is sine wave. I told you incorrectly, I apologize. So, we do want 100% of that. And then we'll make it nice and wide, because why not? Now, if you listen to both sounds together, you'll find that you've still got the fullness of the original, because the other one is kind of moving around this stereo spectrum, right? So. Yeah, so there we go. So it kind of just takes it away, but it adds an extra bonus of, hey, look, you know, you've given me 2 sounds. You've got rid of the clashing frequencies because now it's on the sides, and then you've got the other one in the middle. But also it adds interesting elements to it, because now the sound is woo, just doing its thing, right? So I think that's interesting. But you know, the problem is you can't have all load of bass trying to fit through a little tiny hole. So what I would do here normally is on this sound, I would just roll off just a little bit at the bottom end, just a smidge, you know, just around sort of, I don't know, 50 cycles or so, and it's all kind of good from there. So. And then from there you can play around with the volume levels of each one that you want to kind of do or whatever. Right, but now you've got the fundamentals there. You've got 2 sounds bolted together, which are kind of cool, but at the moment they're just kind of playing out from the original sample, but now you want to kind of do things with them, you know. And so it's now a time to find interesting points. And now this is where it's all about using what tool sets you've got available. So let's just discover some stuff together. So I think that's the easiest way. So because a lot of the time you sit there and you can't say to yourself, right, on this sound I'm going to put this on, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to press the FM and go to 60% and it will be done perfect. You can't ever say that because you don't know how it's going to react. So you've always got to quickly define and try different things, right? So that's the way I always do things. You know, just play with things, and that's how you discover what's possible, you know, so. Interesting. So let's play with the FM, see if we can kind of come up with something there. Let's put it on noise because I want something noisy. See, that's too much. Just a smidge maybe. Just to give it some fur, you know? Sounds like distortion, but not quite. Okay. Maybe see, I like that, but it's too straight still. So what can we do with that to make it less straight and so it kind of blends itself with the other one? I don't want to use like, you know, too much energy to it. I just want to pull it around a little bit. So here's a good tip for you and an interesting one. So if we grab LFO1, we'll put a dot in the middle, do this, I don't know, make it about this fast. Then we're going to drag this to the unison. We're going to put it on 2, maybe? Right, this sound is still soloed, okay? So without using the depth knob at the moment, let me show you what this will do. So if I put it, I don't know, quite high, on 2 unisons, it's going to be really out of tune, right? Yeah, you can hear it there. All right? But that, if you think of that something atmospheric, now that to me just sounds awesome when it goes up from here, down, right? That's just magic. So, but because we can now tell the unison engine, start at 0, work your way up to the maximum point that you set the detune value at, and then decline back to 0 again. So we're going to get that in tune and out of tune. In tune, out of tune thing going on, right? So we simply raise the depth. Oops, sorry, I forgot to set this. So let's put it, I don't know, maybe around about here. And now that's too fast, so we'll slow it down. But I want it a little bit longer on the detune. Oops. So I'm just going to kind of put some curves there. So maybe a little bit more. So, you know, now we'll see how that works with the other sound in context with it. You can hear it. It's just going out of tune. Right, you can hear that, yes? So it's kind of, it's doing that, you know, very drone-like thing where now we presented a sound and now it's saying, oh, look, you know, we're in tune and now we're out of tune and in tune. It just gives you that vibe and it gives you a little bit of movement and I love that. So we'll stick with that a little bit. I might come back and play with the FM a little bit more later on this sound. But the next thing I want to do is add my interesting sound, because then that dictates what I want to do for everything else. So if we want to add more sounds, we can. But so let's head over to Loop Player. This is where it starts getting fun for me, because now we can start adding all sorts of nonsense, literally. So you're not limited to everything that we put here either. So you can have anything you want, including your own samples, you know, so literally you just drag, drop straight in. You can record on, you know, look, this is what I use. All right, I don't know if you can see that, but let me put it to the camera. Right, it's a small little field recorder, right? And on this guy, I take this everywhere with me. And I record anything and everything because the universe is sounds, right? And then when I've got them, if I think, oh, that would be interesting, I bring it back, chop it up, manipulate it, mess it around, loop it, and all that sort of stuff, and then put it into a Horizen, you know, and it's just fun. And you can come up with a load of nonsense. And to be honest, the worse quality is, the better. Because if something is super perfect when it comes to loops, it doesn't work. Because you've already got the great sounds to start with in the samplers, right? That is your focus. These are just the interesting parts, right? So when I first started doing sound design a long time ago, I was so obsessed with trying to make everything perfect that it just ruined the sound. And I could never understood why everyone else had better interest in things than me. And you know, this is back in the day of tape. This is when I was a young lad. So, you know, we didn't have digital workstations back then. So it was very different, but same principles nonetheless. Obviously, but not with a digital field recorder, obviously. So we had to go out with tape cassettes and tape players and record stupid things. So the point is I tried to make everything perfect in hi-fi fidelity. And then eventually someone pulled me aside and said, look, I've heard what you're doing and it's not right. And I questioned him, and he told me and said, this is when I was interning in a studio back when I was a kid. He said, you're trying to do the impossible by making everything perfect. These are sounds and ambient sounds that if they are solely to be used as what's the word I'm looking for here, as a layer of something, don't make it good, make it bad. Lower the quality of the resolution of the recording, or add some dirt to it, add some grime, just whatever, because it will work a lot better in the context of what you're doing. And I always remember that conversation so well in my head, and I remember leaving him thinking, you're absolutely nuts. Do you know what I mean? Thinking, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And then one day I had a broken microphone, and I didn't realize that I had a broken microphone. And anyway, so I went about my day, did what I had to do, and then I came back and I was shocked that everything was like just muffled and terrible and broken. And then I thought, well, let me try it based on what he said. And I remember trying it, and straight away I had that feeling of what everyone else was doing at the time. Okay? And then it dawned on me, it was like, that's why. All my sounds were too bright and shiny. And now this is dark and dreadful, and it just works. Everything just worked, you know? It's the complete opposite. If it's a Foley, if it's designed to be used in a film or something like that, then of course you need high fidelity. So don't get the two confused. But, you know, anyway, it is what it is. So sorry for a little delay there. I thought I'd just tell you that little story. It's quite an interesting one. So I'm going to solo this because now we're going to audition some weird, bizarre stuff. So... interesting. That was nice. That's too dark. So you probably can't hear this because it's so low. Let me just find one real quick. No. These are all the stock ones in Horizen, so... Okay, that's nice. Okay, let me play with this. So first thing I want to do, and what you should do if you're doing interesting things, if it's a drone-like thing, you don't want a sample that you drag in or use from the factory presets to be played really high up in the keyboard, because it would just sound naff. You know, and it will be out of key everywhere and things like that. So yeah, don't do that. So if you just turn pitch track off, then it will always just play one pitch, and it's perfect for this application. So and if you know, you can now lower it or higher it, that's fine, but let's just stick with this for now. Generally, as another rule of thumb for ambient sounds, I never put reverb on them, just because it doesn't work. So you want those to be dry and in the background, you never to the forefront. They're only fillers and just to give the sound some space. So I always put a little bit of attack on there just so it's not instant, and load or release so that it doesn't stop, because the whole point of this is a continuous sound in your track. It's a familiarity. So, you know, and then from here, like this one, I think we should employ the low rumble of this and give it like a movie kind of thing. So I'm going to gently EQ it until you can hear that rumble. Right, just about there. And then, right, all that high frequency, don't really need all of it. So I'll bring it off to about 6K. And then call it quits from there. Now if we then play that with our original in a drone, it's in the background, right? And it's there. And I think that's the important thing, you know, when you're designing a sound. Okay, this is starting to get somewhere. It's starting to give us a little bit of traction, you know, so, and that's good. So we'll stick with this for now. But now I'm kind of hearing another detuning kind of sound that's happening, that we can kind of make it go down and up, sort of, in terms of tuning. But different to that as we did for the pan sound in the detune. So we won't do it in that way. We'll do it in a different way. So let's just find something in the underground here, something more high up more than anything. So again, solo. So I want a kind of clear sound if I can get one, if possible. Oh, that might be good. Yeah, that works for me. Okay. All right, let's use this. So what we're going to do is use a pitch on this. So we'll go to pitch 1, but we're going to design our own. Let's use LFO 3, drag that across. We'll put it to 100% because we're going to design it. So, because currently it would just do that, because it's using this shape, and that's not what we want. So let's reset it to 0. 50% on here is 0, so then you can go plus or minus, obviously. So, so yeah, so we can now kind of have a little bit of fun. So by just putting, let me just be a little bit of a click guy for a second, right? This will make sense in a second. Now we can, bearing in mind 50 is the standard pitch, so now we can just drop it down little bits and maybe up here by a couple of cents, and maybe here we can kind of have a little bit of fun. Maybe, you know, kind of just do this kind of shape. Let me zoom in a little bit so I can get a bit more detail to that section, because I don't want it too fast. Sorry, too slow, I meant. Yeah, that'll be alright. And then maybe pull this one up a little bit. Well, you're hearing what's going on. I like this. It's just a little bit too fast, so I'm going to slow everything down. I think it needs to go down some more maybe. So let's just make it drop drastically here. And maybe up just there a little bit. That's too much. Yeah, that's nice here. I like that. Okay, now we're gonna do this, put some reverb on it, make the release quite long, but because this is low down, I don't want it interfering with the bottom end now. So this is really important. This is the top layer that I was talking about. So we really only want this up on the upper keyboard. And here's a trick in Horizen that you can do. So first of all, I don't want any of the low end because that's just pointless in the sound. So we'll just get rid of all of that. Right? And then we can do that. The Governor, thank you so much. It is very interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's not a demo track. It shouldn't have been labelled as a demo track. It's just a preset demos. But yeah, do appreciate you though. Thank you. So now I want to, what I want to show you is this, right? So if you've got a sound like this that you only want maybe to be played quite high up on the keyboard and you want to ignore it low down, then you can do that by using the range control here. So if you click on this, now I don't want any of this, so 61 I do believe is C-2. So let's start it somewhere, yeah, about there, about, let's say 75 for good measure. And if you put on fade, then it will fade in an octave before, so it won't be so just off and then on, right? So it's super cool little bit of advice there on this synth. And I do a lot of that in my presets anyway. See, now if I play down low, there's nothing at all. So it's only now high up, right? So now when we put all the sounds together, now I can then do a drone sound low down. And then play that new sound that we've just done. See, it's at the top, right? But at the moment, what the problem is I'm playing all these, but now everything is just kind of starting because we've got no velocity. So, so if we go back to, let me label this as high note, right? Just so we know. So if I go back to Sonics and then put my depth up on the V mod, which is this one right here. So this is the velocity curve. Obviously you can choose this yourself and change it yourself. So, you know, so that's not an issue at all. So I'm going to do that for all three of these. Because that would be so much more interesting now. Because if I play soft, I get a different sound to what I play hard. So, for example, if I play really softly, right now if I play the same thing but harder, I get a completely different sound. So now with that said, I can now play really high up. I'll still get the sound, but softer version of it. Now, that's atmospheric, right? But now if you want it to, you know, be impactful, then you can do that. So So you've gone for your high dynamics, you come off, and then go back to soft mode again. So, you know, have it your way, you know, you can kind of play with that. Now this curve here, by the way, as I said, you can set that depending on what you do on your keyboard, whether you're soft-handed or hard-handed or whatever. It's like, you know, I've set this to me and I'm using a Control S61 from Native Instruments. So if you've got a different keyboard, that might change based on what that setting is, just FYI. Okay, let's move on. So we've got our 3 elements that we're happy with in terms of the sound. Now, we can still do more. And I will do more just for the sake of showing you things and bits and pieces. So we're not really using too much effects because we don't really need to use effects like a massive amount unless you need to use them, right? So I always put reverb on and maybe an auto pan to start with. And then if you start wanting things like distortion or dirt or choruses and flanges, then go for it. Right, then obviously that's all very, very personalized thing based on what it is that you want to do. Okay, so now we've done that, let's play with something else. So oh yeah, first thing I want to do, right, is here's another cool thing with Horizen, and to really get the best out of something that no one else really does. This is, as far as I'm concerned, unique to Horizen. So imagine this, right? I've got this sound here, and I want to pitch it, but the problem is I don't want the drone to pitch because that would be weird. So I'm kind of stuck now and I can't do it, but you can. So if you click on input, up here you can lock all of the you know, all of the pitch wheel values you know, together. So at the moment, if I reset these all to 0, and you can see here, this is my sonics, the pan sound, the high note, and I haven't used anything else apart from the loop, which I haven't labeled. And now I want to uncheck that because I want the high note to be the only one that I can pitch down to give us that kind of ambient, right? So I don't know, let's say for 3. So now I go back to the sound. When I play, so see, now just that note is getting pitched. And so it's this guy right here. So you know, it's like you know, you can do what you want with that, and you can obviously change it based on what you want to do, but see, and all I've done there, it's now quite smart because in the background we've got this, I mean, it's subtle, don't get me wrong, it's not something that jumps out at you unless you really crank up the volume like this. Right, but that's not what we want. We want, you know, always, the best things are always subtle, right? And so, you know, but the good sound design is not just this close, right? It's this close and also like this, right? Really kind of deep. So you can kind of look beyond the sound and you get something special. So no, we don't have, it works with MPEs, and we do have touch velocity and manner of things, which I'm just about to show you, but it doesn't do all the other MP functions like polyphonic aftertouch and things like that. So we're only mono aftertouch at this stage. So it's something that we are discussing internally, so we're not saying no and we're not saying yes either. So it's, as I said, for a small developer that we are, it's a lot of work to incorporate MPE in our design at this stage. So, but it will become easier in the future, so yes. However, you can get MIDI functions and controllers that will work wonderful. You know, because in each of our LFOs now, we have our depth CC modifier. So you can set this to whatever MIDI parameter you want. If you've got a controller for it, you can control whatever you want on there. You know, so So it does a lot. Horizen is very powerful once you dig under the belly, you know, so, but it doesn't have to be, you know. Anyway, let's move on. Let's now, what else can we do? Oh yeah. All right, let's now have, because we utilize loop 1. Let's utilize loop 2 with something kind of glitchy or whatever, right? So, I don't know. We'll find something. Let's have a look at some texture loops, for example, right? So I'll solo this. And find something that's entertaining. No. I've got the volume down so low on this one, so sorry if you can't hear it. Oh, that's so nice, but I don't know if it's going to fit this sound. No. You're welcome, the governor. You're absolutely welcome. Enjoy it, honestly. Enjoy it. You know. What sort of music do you do, the governor? Talk to me. Oh, that's so nice. I needed to turn the volume up and I can't because I got this browser in the way. Sorry, hang on. You can't hear any of this. I promise I'll be quick. Okay, let's just play with this. Right, this sound I'm going to treat differently. No, you know what? I'm going to do something even different to show you. Wait, hang on 1 second. Let me find it. Where would it be? It's in here, and it would be under the factory. It'd be at the bottom. Yeah. Okay. Let's use this one, right? I know this is going to be cliche, but this is more to show you something really cool that you can kind of do with voice samples, you know. Ambient TD gels. Oh, you're going to be in your element, and trust me. Incidentally, I'm about to show you a jar trick in a second. Stick around for that. Something that he did and does quite a lot that's kind of interesting. So anyway, let me just quickly do this choir thing, right? So if you've got a sample of a choir and there's loads of them around, but they're unusable, right? And why are they unusable? Because of this reason, right? You can play in a small little octave, right? This sounds fine, right? But then if you get a sample off the internet, all of a sudden you get Mickey Mouse, right? And that's not what you want in the track. Or you get Barry White on steroids. Not cool. But here's a thing that we've got now in Horizen, which is awesome. So let me show you. So what you can do now is if you go to the effects and click on note effects, right? You can now make this sound go all over the keyboard, but only stick at 1 octave. So, and it's called octave folder. So you turn that on. I don't know, let's keep the range at 5. No, it's too high. Okay, we'll go 4. So, yeah, good. So, now we've got these voices. They're always going to stay in this octave, no matter where you play it on the keyboard. So it will always work with your backing. So if I now, this voice sound may not work with what we've done, but this is just to quickly show you, okay? So don't judge me. So this is, hopefully you'll understand where I'm going with that. Wait, let me turn it up a bit. Let me mute these two. Yeah, okay, I was right. It doesn't go at all what we're doing, but it shows. Let me actually just solo this again. Get rid of those again. But now, obviously, I can now play this everywhere on the keyboard, and it will be totally fine, you know. So if you've ever got samples out there, you think, oh, that's a really good sample, but you know, it's no good to me because it sounds terrible when I put it up high or whatever, right? And you know, it just doesn't work. But now you can do it, so it does. And let me now just do something different just to show you. So short bass. Okay, this one will do. Right. So let me set the, okay, right. So now I can play this bass everywhere, you know. Okay, you can set the octave yourself, obviously. Let me go up one more because it will sound better probably. But then it starts again. Right, so you've got that one octave. So that you can play with. It's just awesome. It's a game changer when it comes to using your own samples and stuff. Anyway, I'm sorry I completely derailed. Let me mute this because we're not going to use it. Let me go back to this. Right, so where were we? Oh yeah, I'm going to show you a jar trick now. And something that I thought about might work with this sound is something kind of really pretty, tingly over the top, right? And so, and a lot of jar records did this. And so I'm going to use the same technique. And you'll instantly recognize it when it's in the track. So if I solo this, let's put it for a sine wave, because that's probably best, right? So let's get past the hearing test. Can you hear this? Yes. Right, my hearing works. Good. Okay. Let's now choose pitch number 2. This is really easy, by the way. Honestly. Pitch number 2, turn that on and put this to random, right? And now, if we increase the depth, put the speed up, I don't know, something like this maybe. Well, it sounds like something from R2-D2, but by the time you then do this, add some reverb to it. I mean, I should have put it on the other mod actually, because then I could have applied smoothing. Let's try changing it from a sine to a tri. Yeah, it's a bit more jarish. And then if you set the range so it's only really high, and then you play the track. And then we'll bring it in. I mean, I should have done that properly, by the way, and did this. And then also turn it down a bit. Yeah. But that's only one part of it, right? So you've got this sound, and it's like, well, that's instant jar anyway. But now if we put up the unison on that, and then we detune it, I don't know, maybe to there. Maybe put some FM on it as well. Triangle. Detune that even. Then we start to kind of get into that era. Let's put some panna on it. And you can go nuts with that then. So, yeah, so, you know, for you and for what you want to do, just play with things, turn things on, turn things off, twiddle things, do whatever you got to do. And it kind of works out better for you, because it's hard to kind of teach someone how to create a sound when I'm not in their space, you know. So I'm just kind of generally showing you what to kind of do without really thinking about it, really, or designing a pro sound. I'm just showing you the tools and what you could do. You see what I mean? So hopefully that's kind of helped you a little bit. And hey, this is the sound we created, you know, and it's great. So, and then obviously to save it, you simply just click new, type in the preset name, choose your tags you want, job done. Then it's there for you, you know. So it makes it a lot of fun. But yeah, drony, you know. So that's how you create sounds in Horizen. So at the end of the day, Al, just to quickly show you also what I was talking about, the MPE earlier on. So in our mods now, so I've just soloed this sound. I tell you what, it's easier if I do it on a synth. It's so much clearer. So here you go. Here's our lovely sound. Wow. Right. So, and no matter how hard I press this, it's going to sound the same. So, soft or hard, right? Doesn't make any difference. So, if we just, for the sake of it for a second, just pretty it up a tiny bit. So, let's just put a spot reverb on there. Right, so now, if we want that sound to modulate, okay, then what we can do now is, let's take this one here, LFO2. So we go to pitch 1, turn this on, put LFO2 to it, now if we increase the depth CC to 129, very important, 129, then that basically tells your controller, as long as you have velocity enabled controller, which most people do, let's be honest. So now if I press harder now, then that will happen, right? But at the moment, I haven't given it a value, so it's not doing anything. So now, if I now increase this by, I don't know, 4%, and now if I press down, there you go. So that... So that goes to show you what you can do. But, you know, it doesn't stop there either. So, let's say, okay, you know what? What else could we do with it? Well, we can do lots of things, actually. So, let's grab this LO4 and we'll put it to the filter. So, now if we make that active, and again, put that to touch CC as well. I don't know, let's just create a funny shape. That would do. Right. And then now... Oh, better put some smoothing on. Let's create a different shape. That one will do. See, now I can control the filter cutoff just by velocity. So, which is a huge win. You know, you can fade that in even. Maybe a bit more. And you know what, you can now speed it up and do what you want with it. You know? So... makes it interesting, you know, so it gives you again some movement and that's what synths are all about. So you can do that, and then again it doesn't stop there. I don't know, let's grab, why not, let's just grab another one, put it onto the gate, put the depth up, again we'll just create another shape. That would do, put it to 129, and now we have something else going on, you know. So you know, so that, you know, already you got a lot of fun. You know, you can go crazy. There you go. So there's lots of things you can do with that. You can also drag this to the FM shape. You can drag it to the unison, so you can have, you know, different unison levels. You know, I mean, obviously, I'm just showing you here and it's not that exciting, but you get the idea. If you customize it the way you want, it's awesome. So, yeah, that's how you kind of get that, you know, vintage vibe sort of thing by just putting a vibrato on, and it's an incredibly powerful tool, you know. So and it's yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I mean, if anyone's got any questions they want to throw to me while I'm here, you know, and again, just to reiterate for those that are watching back and or hanging around, I will not be doing the giveaway today because of I did the live stream on the day that of release, but the mail shot hasn't yet reached everybody, and so it would be unfair to do it because I know people like to turn up for that. So people won't know that I'm doing it tomorrow, so what we might do is I'll ask Traction to send out another email shot, and then I'll stream it a couple of days after that. so that people can be here, jump on, and then we create something great together, you know. So that's it, really. So just I want to put it out there, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please do so, because it helps us, you know. So we want to grow, and I know that I'm not super active on YouTube, but I do want to be. It's just at the moment, because we've got so much going on, we're working on lots of different fixes for Horizen, sorry, not fixes, but updates to Horizen, and we're doing expansion packs, and it's long-winded and time consuming and everything like that. And because we don't have other people to rely upon, it's just ourselves, it gets very difficult. So yeah, if we can do it, then we will do, and I'll happily sort of do what I can when I can. So, but you will see me again soon. So thanks to everyone for showing up today. I do appreciate you so much. I know it hasn't been such an active turnout, but hey, we're all here, and just enjoy the rest of the day. Please do check out the YouTube channel for the new expansion. And otherwise, have a great rest of the day. So, no, I know, but some people, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. The Gov, you haven't got it just yet, but you'll probably get it a couple of hours later or tomorrow. So that's the mistake. You see what I mean? And so people don't know that we're streaming. This is just, I mean, yeah, we've got 8 people watching the stream right now, and I know it's not lots of people, but it's too little to have a giveaway, if that makes sense. And as I said, it would be unfair to the rest of the people that want to have that. So apologies to everyone. It is our mistake, but we will meet again very, very soon. And, you know, we'll do a take 2 version of of the stream. But otherwise, I bid you farewell. Have a great evening. Look after yourself. Enjoy Horizen and enjoy Underground. So see you again soon. See you later.